Things. Christians often misunderstand introduction. An uncomfortable beginning. This video is not an attack. It is not here to mock belief. It is not here to provoke hatred. It is here to ask something far more difficult. What if some of the things we believe about others are not lies, but incomplete truths? What if many misunderstandings were never born from evil intentions, but from repetition, tradition, and silence? Most people inherit their beliefs the same way they inherit their language. They grow into them. They absorb them. They rarely stop to ask where they came from. So today, we are going to explore some of the most common things many Christians believe about Islam, and why many of them deserve to be re-examined. Not emotionally, not politically, but honestly. Let's begin with the most fundamental misunderstanding of all. 1. Misunderstanding. Muslims worship a different God. This belief is widespread and deeply rooted. Many Christians sincerely believe that Muslims follow a completely different deity. But from a theological and historical standpoint, this is simply incorrect. The word Allah is not the name of a separate God. It is the Arabic word for the one God. Arab Christians, long before Islam, used the word Allah to refer to God. In Islam, Allah is described as the creator of the universe, the God of Abraham, the God of Moses, the God of David, the God of Jesus, the same lineage, the same prophetic tradition, the same monotheistic foundation. The disagreement is not about who God is, it is about how God is understood. 2. Misunderstanding. Muslims reject Jesus. This is one of the most surprising truths for many Christians. Islam does not reject Jesus. In fact, Jesus, known as Isa in Arabic, is mentioned in the Quran more times than Muhammad. According to Islamic belief, Jesus was born miraculously to the Virgin Mary. He is the Messiah. He performed miracles by God's permission. He was supported by the Holy Spirit. He is one of the greatest messengers of God. A Muslim who denies Jesus is not considered Muslim. The difference lies here. Islam does not see Jesus as God or the Son of God, but as a servant and a messenger of God. This is not a dismissal of Jesus' importance. It is a disagreement about his nature. 3. Misunderstanding. Islam denies the Bible. Islam does not reject the Bible outright. The Quran acknowledges the Torah, Psalms, and Gospel as revelations originally sent by God. However, Islam makes a crucial distinction. It teaches that while these scriptures were divinely revealed, their texts were altered, edited, or influenced by human hands over time. This claim is not unique to Islam. Modern Christian biblical scholarship acknowledges the original manuscripts no longer exist. Thousands of textual variants are present. Different Gospels were excluded through church councils. Interpretations evolved through centuries of theological debate. This is not an insult to faith. It is a matter of historical record. 4. Misunderstanding. Islam is a religion of violence. Perhaps no misunderstanding has caused more damage than this one. Islam has been repeatedly judged by the actions of extremists. But let us ask an uncomfortable question. Do we define Christianity by the Crusades, by the Inquisition, by forced conversions, by religious wars? Of course not. In the Quran, the killing of an innocent person is described as if one has killed all of humanity. Violence committed in the name of religion is not proof of religion's nature. It is proof of human corruption. The problem is not faith. The problem is power mixed with fear. 5. Misunderstanding. Islam oppresses women. This topic is often discussed, but rarely understood. Many practices attributed to Islam are actually cultural traditions that existed before Islam. When Islam emerged, It granted women rights that were revolutionary for its time: the right to inheritance, the right to consent in marriage, the right to own property, the right to education. In 7th century Arabia, these were radical changes. Today, injustices faced by women in some Muslim societies are real, but they are not mandated by Islam itself. The same distinction exists in Christian societies. Cultural abuse is often confused with religious doctrine. 6. Misunderstanding. Islam demands blind obedience. Islam does not discourage thought, it demands it. The Quran repeatedly challenges its readers. Do you not reflect? Do you not reason? Do you not see? Faith without understanding is criticized. Questioning is not forbidden. Ignorance is. This emphasis on reason gave rise to advanced mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy during the Islamic Golden Age. 7. Misunderstanding. Muslims follow their faith out of fear. This assumption reduces faith to terror. In Islam, worship is based on a balance of fear, hope, love. God is not only just, He is overwhelmingly merciful. Two of God's most repeated names in the Quran are the most merciful. The most compassionate mercy is not an exception in Islam. It is the foundation. 8. The real question: why do these misunderstandings exist? Because people often learn about other religions from media headlines, political narratives, secondhand opinions, historical conflicts, rarely from the original sources. But truth cannot be inherited secondhand. It must be examined. Conclusion: a quiet but powerful ending. This video did not tell you to abandon your faith. It did not ask you to replace one belief with another. Instead, it asked something far more difficult, something far more honest. What if understanding others does not weaken belief, but refines it? What if faith was never meant to be protected from questions, but strengthened by them? What if God is not offended by curiosity, but by arrogance disguised as certainty? Because throughout history, faith was rarely destroyed by doubt. It was damaged by people who stopped listening, by people who believed they already knew enough, by people who turned belief into identity, and identity into a weapon. Perhaps the greatest danger to faith is not doubt, but certainty without knowledge, conviction without humility, belief without reflection. Christians and Muslims speak of the same God. They speak of justice, of mercy, of accountability, of a final day where truth is no longer debated, but revealed. Yet somewhere along the way, difference became distance, and distance became fear. Not because the teachings demanded it, but because misunderstanding made it easy. And maybe, just maybe, the real divide between Christians and Muslims is not belief, but the stories told about each other. Stories repeated until they felt like truth. Stories inherited, but never questioned. This video did not give you answers. It gave you something more uncomfortable: a mirror. And the realization that understanding is not surrender. Listening is not betrayal. And questioning is not the enemy of faith. That realization does not belong to this video. It does not belong to any religion. It belongs to you.